What is that? Because
They have
Is
their,
that
they have their cameras off.
Because we have, in my case, John, it's because I have my video off.
oh, okay. So it's not, it's not wrong. Nothing's wrong on my end.
No,
Okay. Thank you.
You see the blank spots with their names, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe,
Very good, Carrie.
Got 6 o'clock. You want to start it, John, or you want me to?
no, go ahead.
I call this regular meeting of the Select Board, South Thomaston, February 14th, to order at 6 o'clock. And any adjustments to the agenda? John, did you have anything?
I have two and Terry has one, right?
I don't have,
Yeah, you had a rate order change for EMS. You wanted to add,
I don't know, did I give it to everybody?
huh?
No, I forgot.
It was in,
Was it in the packet?
I thought you said you wanted to add that.
Yeah, I put it in
And
the packet.
I'd like to add a brief discussion about LD 101, an act to return to the former owner any excess funds remaining after the sale of foreclosed property. I have some real concerns about that, Bill. And I'd also like to add a possible executive session. The Maine for Land's Future program has are requesting applications. And I would like to talk about a potential application, and I would like to, you do it in executive session because it is a land purchase discussion, and I don't want to tip our hand about interest at this point. So if there is any interest. And then Penny called me and she wanted to add an item concerning help me, Penny. One was about your voting status on the nominating group. And what was the other one? I can't remember.
Oh, it was the community resilience, but that's been put off till the 28th.
Okay, so that is put off. Okay, because I was just saying to Terry, I got some conflicting messages there, but okay, that's okay, fine. Okay, that's all I have. If that's not enough.
okay, so we'll put all 4 of those under new business. But I think we'll probably take EMS's rate change out of order. So any public comment for things not on the agenda? Hearing none. We'll move to review and approval of the January 24th minutes. I would entertain the motion.
I move approval.
Okay, I'll put that.
Any corrections, additions, edits, or further discussion? All those in favor? John?
John, I.
Jeff, aye. Passes 3-0. So old business, I've got discussed with the ambulance director, the SOP. Did we actually want to do that now? Or,
I thought there was another one.
yeah. If this isn't time critical, I'd rather wait till we have what we think is the good one. Is that okay with you, Andy?
Well,
Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Jeff, can I add something?
Sure.
I can't I'm almost positive that Jan and I had a version that was done after the one that's circulating right now, but I can't find it. So I would like to take us, I do have some concerns with some of the things in the current draft, and I would like to take a stab at redrafting a few of the sections. If that would be agreeable to folks, to send them and then send them out for circulation. Because I remember some of the things that Jan and I talked about. The more I think about this, the more it's kind of coming back to me. And I did go through it the other night with a fairly fine tooth comb. So I would, number one, offer to do that. And I guess I'm also requesting an opportunity to do that
Yeah,
from you folks.
that's what I would like to do too, because I didn't want to go through every version.
No,
So, so right now we're starting with the one that she just sent out last week. And you're
In-
gonna do it on it for our next meeting.
in the packet, the one that Terry sent in the packet.
Okay, so that's version 0. And you're gonna do edits and get it to us before the next meeting.
I will definitely try to do that. Although I'm having a lot of fun down here. So it's easier to work up there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, and I think we also have consider new hires by the ambulance director. You want to take that out of order?
Sure. Is Thomas there?
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, we got all 3 of them.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay. So I have 3. Noah, I think, is there. Rebecca's there and Thomas. So I'm going to start with Noah. Noah has been a driver for St. George and he lives in the area. He has passed his hands-on EMT written and EMT hands-on, and he is in the process of taking his written exam. So hopefully we'll be an EMT soon also, but he would like to start as a driver until he is licensed. Noah, would you like to speak and introduce yourself?
I'm Noah Carlson. I joined the ambulance when I turned 18, which was 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it since. And that was when I was in the process of my EMT class over at Midco School of Technology. And I have also been on the St. George Fire with since 2018.
Where do you physically reside?
Right down in December.
Okay, good. Okay. And you currently run with St. George, are you going to Thomaston or any of the others as well?
Right now, I'm currently running in St. George and then applying here.
Okay. Good. Anybody else have any questions, John?
No, sounds great.
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Noah Carlson as a EMS driver, correct? At this point, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? John?
Hi, John.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. The next is Thomas Moore. He's on the South Thomaston Fire Department, lieutenant, and he is in our new EMT class at Midco School of Technology that just started. And he would like to join EMS to be a driver until he's licensed.
All right. So same questions. You obviously, you live in South Thomaston?
I just recently moved out of the area.
Okay.
I'm actually further down in the 4-5.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm more going for DM if available.
okay. You still been around with the fire department? Though?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
No desire to resign.
okay.
So I've been with the fire department for well over 3 years, gone through the schooling with them as well.
Yeah.
I was previously on the department about 11 years ago before I moved out of the area, and we couldn't get back soon enough.
Good. Any other questions, John?
I just couldn't hear where he lived. If you could just repeat that.
In Fort Blythe, off of Bunbury Road.
Okay, okay. I thought you said something like Booth Bay or something, but Port Glad, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we hire Thomas Moore to be a driver with South Thomaston Fire Ambulance Department.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Hi, John.
Aye, Jeff. Last but not least,
All right, our last one is Rebecca Doyle. She's in the EMT class, recently started at Midcoast that we're teaching. This is a grant program, just so you all know. I got a grant for all of the 15 students that are there. So hopefully we'll have 15 new EMSs in the Knox area, but she would like to be hired as a driver and when she's licensed, become EMT. And she has land on Tyler Lane in South Thomaston that hopefully they'll be moving to after they get their house built. But she right now is in Cushing, but would like to join our service where she'll be here hopefully in the next couple of years.
Yes. Hey guys, I'm Becca. I wanted to be an EMT since I was 12, so I'm super duper excited to be considered part of this. Driving is a good step to kind of get in the field and experience new calls and such. Yeah, I live in Cushing currently, but I'm more than willing to sleep here. Any other questions for me?
I don't have it. John?
No,
Okay,
Is that it?
I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we hire Rebecca Doyle as a driver for the South Thomaston Ambulance.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi, John.
Aye, Jeff. 3-0. Well, welcome all three of you.
Yes.
Appreciate
thank
you stepping up.
Really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Good, thanks. Okay, so Amy, you ready to move on to service billing waiver procedures?
Sure.
Okay.
I actually didn't know this was on here, so I had Terry send me the stuff earlier.
Yeah, I asked Terry to put this in the next two on, actually.
Okay.
When we did the agenda up, I know at the last meeting, there was quite a bit of discussion about this subject. And I just feel like we have this policy in place, and if our intention is not to do it, then I think we should get rid of it or modify it or whatever. I mean, I think it makes no sense to have a town policy that's been approved, amended a few times. And this whole thing, it's really never worked very well at all. And it didn't work at all with the old building company, because I understood long before Amy even got here, they didn't even send the forms up. But I'm still reluctant to just write off what people owe without them at least coming to us and requesting and showing us some evidence why we should write it off. And I'm missing the second page. It didn't come in my packet. And we don't need to solve this tonight, but I just feel that if people, I mean, it's a simple process where we don't even ask for proof. It's just a self-evaluation. If you say this, we believe you. So I guess I would like to keep it, but if we're going to keep it, I think we should make it work. And if we're not going to make it work, then I think we should get rid of it.
John, oh, can I say
Yeah.
something?
That's up to Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, can I say something?
Absolutely.
So this was a write-off policy way before me.
Yep.
And I guess they used to write off a lot because at the end of the year, or end of 2 years, or I think I had up to 5 years when I started of stuff that had to be written off. So I guess if I could just look through this again and maybe touch base with the billing company and see what other processes are for other towns and maybe send it out. and see
That'd be
if-
great. Yeah.
Okay,
And I just want you to understand, this has nothing to do with you and the general billing. I'm not even sure at this point, once it gets kicked over, once the bills are gone off of the billing company, that it's even the EMS's responsibility anymore. It may be a town office, front office function, you know what I mean? A bill collection process. But I do think that, people should at least, we should at least touch base with them. And I don't know, so, or get rid of it, but that's a great idea. That
yeah, I mean,
satisfies
just
me.
maybe touch base. I think some of the biggest part is when we updated the collection agency part, is that we didn't really want to send it to collections, because then it would put a lot of either someone's got to do the letters and send them out, or we had to pay the billing company to do the letters to send them out. And that's kind of where it got held up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
do
like
you
I
want
say,
to send collection notices out to somebody that can't afford it anyway? But
Well, no, but there's a simple process where they can come in and get away. And they just have to, they don't even have to bring any proof.
yeah,
It's a self-certification. They can lie through their teeth. But anyways,
yeah,
so, well, I've said what I need to say. Twice, so.
all right. I will touch base with Comstar and see if they have some other write-off policies other than the ones that we already have.
And I guess Jeff and Sue, I mean, do you agree with me, or do you, or not? Or, I mean, if we don't need it, we don't need it.
I agree
Okay.
with you.
Yeah, I agree that if we have it, we should use it. If we don't want to use it, then we should get rid of it. And I would like to see it kind of updated a little bit, because I've already expressed my philosophical feelings on it. But I have no problem at all with trying to do this a little closer to getting them responsible for coming in and asking.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that most of them, that Terry's correct, that most of these, we're never gonna collect anything because of their financial condition or they're passed away, but I don't think we should rely on Terry's sort of common knowledge of the history of South Thomaston as our policy process. Although it probably works better than anything else, but anyways, okay.
And she may not be here.
Right. Yeah,
CEO would not even hear about this.
I mean, Owen wouldn't have known any of this, so.
Well, that's why the enforcement of that policy got resurfaced, was because of Owen getting his arms around. I'm sorry, I broke in, but I had my hand up, so.
Oh, your hand is hit, the yellow hand is hidden.
Oh, it is. Huh.
I can see it on mine.
I see it on mine. So can I be recognized?
Go ahead.
If you if you eliminate what you've been doing, or what we've been doing inconsistently, and I agree with John that going through some processes is a good idea, but I'm not heavy-handed to go after people that can't afford.
No.
To me, it's just a due diligence thing, and along those lines, to me, the financial transaction is a bad debt, and I would think that you should ask the auditor or somebody if there's a GASB, Government Accounting Standards Board issue there, that you can't just ignore a bad debt. and pass muster with the green eye shade people. So my 2 cents. And certainly, and I'll reiterate that Amy cleaned up so much stuff that was hanging around that can't be underappreciated.
Yeah, and that was not my intent at all. I recognize that. I mean, Amy, I put that in the email. Amy brought this from the dark ages to, I mean, no, really. I mean, the bills went out late. No, I mean, that was not the issue at all. The issue was strictly this waiver procedure, but okay.
All right, so we'll discuss that. The next meeting, Amy?
Yeah, I'll touch base with Comstar because I've got to send out the next thing that we're going to talk about to them anyway.
Okay, so that leads us right up to the power load grant.
Oh, sorry. So
Go ahead.
When it comes to the AFG grant, where we've already got a grant for the stretcher and that system, I can't reapply for another grant. For the same, I know it's a different piece, but it's the same grant. So I do have an email back out to the Tabitha King just to touch base that, hey, our stretcher was too old. Is there something we can do? I'm not sure that they'll change our grant since so it's already been awarded and we've already got the check, but I did send that out to them. And me and David talked about doing the AFG on the next round about getting a bunch of equipment and what we need for radios, and so that it's all in one grant and not kind of pieced together with separated, and only putting in for a small amount instead of, a big amount of equipment that may be needed for both fire and EMS. So that's kind of what made sense. And I think John kind of touched on that when it was like, it's going to be quick. It wasn't going to be put together good. And how's that? And rather put a grant together that we may get, then put it together really quickly and it not be all put together. So that's where that stands. John, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you very much, Chairman Drinkwater. No, I'm only kidding. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And as I understand it, the application deadline's already passed anyways, right? It was 2/10 or something like that. And I thought it was just when we talked about it the last time, I'm thinking, whoa, they're gonna put this together in like 3 days or something. Do they do it annually? That's my question.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. That satisfies my curiosity.
Okay, so rate changes. That was the thing that was added, looks like Medicare rate change schedule.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is it me?
Yes, Amy, it's you.
All right. Well, Walter had his hand up too, so I wanted to make sure I didn't.
I'm just in the queue.
Oh, okay. So we did rate changes yearly. We take what Medicare, what our fee schedule is, and then the average bundle of the top 50 services, which was sent out in a formula, and the current rates and what we want to change them to. So kind of put in the average from Medicare compared to what the fee schedule is and what our schedule is. Medicare allowance amounts is what Medicare is going to pay, but we also want to make sure we look at other insurances because they pay full amount. So we want to be in that middle range. So that's why I put as in as you can see, the new rates, if that's what you guys agree on. You can change those to whatever you feel makes sense, but that's what I talked to the billing company and We looked at the allowances. That's what a lot of services are kind of going to, so.
Okay.
Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
These are significant increases, which should impact our revenue, although a lot of our billing comes from Medicare, which won't change. They'll stay at the current Medicare rates, I'm assuming. Go ahead. I guess, well, I can't, I'm not the chair, I forgot. Just,
Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
There is legislation in there to increase Medicare rates and different things. So that's why we've kind of looked at making sure that we increase our rates timely every year. So.
okay, but at this point, that left column is still the Medicare rate. Okay, that my only question.
Did you have some?
Well,
Go
I
on.
thought the sheet that we had that we were writing things off, that most of them were above these current rates, the amounts that were being written off. Am I mistaken on that? So is this what they bill for a ambulance service, right?
So,
Oh, mileage and everything.
so yeah, our current rates are to the right. That's what we are billing out right now. The first column is the fee allowance for Medicare. So they pay that amount, and if they have a secondary insurance, they send the rest of it to their secondary. And if not, it is written off, correct, by insurance based. But if it's Blue Cross or another insurance, they actually pay the current rate of what we bill out. If that makes sense.
So if somebody uses the ambulance, it's one of these charges plus mileage. It says that mileage rate. Is that how it works?
A loaded mile. So yeah, so it's the rate plus a loaded mile. So it's not the mile to the call, it's only the mile from the call to the hospital.
Okay.
So yeah, so it is the current rate. It's a B. Or the 25 is the $20. So, because insurance pays a base rate and then they pay a loaded mile rate on top of that.
Okay.
Walter?
I don't have a question on the rates. I'm just two ambulance related questions since it showed up as at the beat here. So if I'm out of order, let me know. But I have two ambulance related questions.
Well, why don't we go ahead and deal with this first and then we'll come back to that.
That's fine.
Anybody in the audience here? Any questions? So I'd entertain a motion to approve the proposed rate changes.
I make a motion that we approve the proposed rate change for 2023 for ambulance service.
Was there a date in that motion? I couldn't hear. Effective date in that motion?
No, I don't know if I
I think-
3-1.
I think she's
3-1.
asking, I think we should have that effective date in there.
Okay. I
If
make
you
a
don't
motion that we accept the rate change for 2023 effective 3/1/2023 for ambulance service. Rate change.
Second,
Okay, moved in second. Any further discussion?
I have
All those in favor?
no, never mind. Go ahead. We can talk about it at budget time. Go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye, John.
Jeff, aye. Okay, then the last thing that's the last thing I've got for the ambulance, right? Is there anything else? So, Walter, did you have a question about the ambulance?
Two. So Amy, Should the select board in South Thomaston and or the citizens be happy, sad, or not care at all about what's going on in St. George? And assuming that the voters of St. George do the smart thing, what are the implications one way or the other? Are we impacted positively or negatively?
It's not gonna change with South Thomaston. We have same mutual aid agreement. Nothing's gonna change on that.
Okay. And I can't watch you guys craft the your budget hearings tomorrow. What, if any, implications will there be on your budget when you present it with the infusion of funds that you just got from Thomaston?
What do you mean?
Well, they just gave $40,000 or $60,000 to your service, which I
Oh.
assume
Oh,
is aimed at wages and salaries for most part, or increase in personnel.
yes.
So how does that filter through in terms of an impact on what we might see in June,
I
or April, for that matter?
I propose some increase of wages so that we can keep people in South Thomaston in our budget. So
Okay.
only because across the board, yeah, to keep people, we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, well, based on the concern that I keep hearing from other towns, you guys, we're together doing a good job of that, as expensive as it might be. So
So you
Nice.
guys did see my resignation in Thomaston, right?
No,
Other than what Walter said.
oh, when was that?
So that was effective in the select board meeting last night. So it'll be probably be in the paper tomorrow, the report,
I'm sorry, did you resign?
from Thomaston, yes.
Oh,
I hope it was a good thing.
It was. No,
Okay,
it was.
yeah,
it
okay.
was.
Okay. And the rest of the questions that you had for the ambulance, we'll discuss tomorrow night at the budget meeting, right? Okay. All right, anything else? Last chance for Amy and the ambulance. All right, so we'll move back to old business. Update on the second tranche of the ARPA funds. Harry, you had some updates.
Yeah, I purchased air filters, or air purifiers for the town office. They were previously under earmark for $600, and we purchased them for $579.98, so I moved that up. That we spent it. And I was talking with Penny, and she said she moved the AED from the River Schoolhouse to go to Butler, so I took one of those out of our proposal to Candy, which is still in the wings waiting to process.
Okay. So the Historical Society does not have an AED now.
Well, it hasn't moved yet,
Okay,
but, they require a monthly maintenance
right.
that the EMA director performs. And, so we thought it'd be better off to move that up to Gilbert Butler in the hope that we could save some of that money and just purchase one instead of the two, or when Gilbert Butler has the generator. And to be in the one shelter, you need the AED. So, Betty said she would remove it from the Historical Society, and Arthur will help her install it because it has to go into a cement wall. So he's getting really good at that.
I was just wondering if we were able to do this,
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Good one to make sure we did.
I'm sorry. That's why we moved all the ambulance stuff into.
We didn't know if it
One
was
fell.
light.
Yeah, we didn't.
No.
we didn't have to walk around.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
No,
you, guys.
Thank you very much.
You are more than welcome to stay, but you're not required. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I have some class work to get into. So. You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Jeff,
Like to
Um,
have two things on the list?
Go ahead,
I
John.
would leave two on there.
under the earmarks, I believe we had, at least tentatively, I'm not sure we came up with a number, but we had tentatively indicated that we would earmark some money towards a match for the tennis court repairs.
Yeah, I thought we had as well.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that. And I think we were talking, somewhere in fairly substantial in the 10 to 20 range. So I just don't want that to get lost because I'm kind of baking that into my thinking as I move forward with this, but and we're, getting at 41,000, we're getting down there.
Right. And because we also have some of it earmarked for the, is that on here? The automatic lift thing?
No.
No, so that's not on there either.
Right.
And that was like, wasn't that like 7,000 or something, or?
Yeah, that's what I recall.
And I thought it was like half from the donation fund and half from the, it's in the minutes, but
Okay. So how much for the tennis courts? And I'll do this for next week.
well, I don't think we actually agreed on a number, but I'd just like to at least put the name down there.
Okay.
Um,
I think what
and-
that's saying is that we pretty much earmarked everything in the second tranche, right?
we're getting there.
Well, if we add the AED back in, I think it'll be.
Could someone refresh my memory on the hazardous waste recovery program? I don't, for some reason, I draw a complete blank on that.
That's the transfer station is going to do an event where you can turn in hazardous waste. And there's gonna be a cost associated with it, so each of the towns is kicking in, and I think they're all using the same $5,000 for that.
Actually, I do remember that now. Okay, thank you. The other comment I have is I look over this list and I'm pretty personally proud of the way we spent these funds.
Yeah, I am too. So if you can come up with a pretty good number for redoing the tennis court, I think that's the reason it's not on here, because you were gonna give us a number. We didn't.
Well, yeah, I don't think I ever got that far, but I mean, I guess whatever number it is, I mean, obviously we could use it all, but I mean, even if it's 10 grand, it would help towards that match. Anyways, okay. I'll try to, I don't think I want to be greedy with it, or given how little is left, because I'm sure other needs might come up, so that are important.
Hey,
So we
so,
didn't really.
yeah, I did.
Two of them or one of them, or, I mean, I
For
could
the
put two
AED.
in.
I think go,
Two?
I still think go with two.
What are we talking about?
The AEDs,
Oh,
I mean, we've gone with two, now EMA and Penny are planning to move the AED from the Little Red Schoolhouse to Guilford Butler.
okay, thank you. I just couldn't hear it.
Yeah, so we're just trying to figure out, John, whether we want to go with one or two new ones. we don't have an actual place, and once you install them, there's actually a daily check that you're supposed to do on them, and then a monthly documented check.
We do it once a month at school.
So,
And it's just that everything's working.
pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
So what do you think, John? Should we just cut it to one?
So what's the cost per individual? About 500?
No. 1,053 to one.
Okay, so, okay, I thought that was two. So that's for just one, so. So where would we put it?
Yeah, I can't think, other than the Historical Society, that's the only other place I could think.
I guess-
Put it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's our responsibility,
Right,
but on the other hand, that's. I guess I don't have strong feelings one way or another. I do like the idea that we spend it on health related or, recreational or health related purposes or emergency response purposes. And that certainly could be money well spent. And that tends to be a fairly elderly crowd, does it not, down there?
yeah, and they do hold other functions there.
Yeah,
Do you have anything here?
No,
Well,
one of
that's
them is
where
for here.
one is.
One was for here.
Yeah, one's for here.
But the problem is down the library, we had to go through training to use it, even though it tells you how to use it. And then it has the monthly check and then the annual check, and they have 9 monthly meetings and maybe 2 or 3 other functions during the year. But I don't know that it would really be worth the cost of it.
do we,
And would
Are we-
maintain it.
oops, sorry.
Yeah, and it would have to be the Historical Society.
Are we still in the running for get that out of that FEMA grant from the county?
Maybe.
Well, I guess my thought would be to pencil in two at this point and see what comes up with the FEMA grant.
Yeah, so if the FEMA grant comes through, get 2 of them. If not, we get one.
So just leave one in our opera funds and how can we want to?
Perfect. Okay. Streetlight renewal note quote.
So last meeting, you voted on the 856, I can't remember, if it's 3 years, 5 years, whatever it was, but you also asked me to find out if we had to have it.
Yeah.
And we do not have to have it if we do not want to control our lights. They would come on when it got dark and they would go off when it got light. Honestly, they're set at 80%. And I don't do any, I mean, we don't have a park that we can change the times that they come on and off. Ours all come on at the same time and all go off at the same time. We don't use it, really.
You remember ever using it? I mean.
The only thing I ever do is I changed the lights. They were all at 100 and they recommended they be at 80% so they last longer, and that's the only thing I did. I mean, I go on the map and I can see if there's a light out, but usually if there's a light out, someone lets me know.
I'm having a little trouble hearing Terry. So the idea would be that we just simply go back to the old way, that if there's a light out, somebody would eventually let us know. Is that what I heard? Okay,
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm good with that.
Penny?
My only concern is the one that we have proposed for the parking lot at Guilford Butler. I had told the neighbors that we could turn it off at 9. It wouldn't be on all night. I don't know that it would be an issue for them, or if we should go with our a personal light that we can operate in the building rather than one that ties into all the rest of the LED lights. That might be, I mean, that might light up the skate park all night.
Hmm.
That's the only drawback I see. It has been lighted, but it's now put off until March 6th.
So before we pull the plug on the software, can we set that one to turn off at 9?
Well, it's not here yet, but is it worth paying for that
For one night.
software? For
How
one
much,
night?
how much is the software?
856,
But that's for 3 years.
3 years, yeah, I think so. And I guess in the scheme of things, 856 for 3 years.
Over 3 years.
It's not bad, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry, could you
All right.
speak up a little when you talk?
I'll try, Jerome.
So the question is whether or not it's worth $856 for 3 years to be able to see when they're out and to be able to turn them off if we want to. And there's probably at least one of them that we would want the ability to turn off independently. Yeah, I think it's a cheap price. If it were something a little more, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking, like $250 a year or something, or?
285.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's 875 for 3 years.
yeah.
So,
Okay, so I guess we've all agreed that we'll just leave it like
Oh,
this.
just keep
for
it,
now.
yeah.
But we can revisit it. in the future.
Yeah.
All right, you're up again, Terry, for phone system, town office phone system.
honestly, I don't know that I understand the whole VoIP enough to make a decision on anything, but I can tell you, if we went with consolidated and you have all the prices, they don't do fax lines, so that's a big problem with the ambulance, because they have to have a fax. And we would have to switch to their internet. Can you hear me, John?
Not well, but I don't know anything about this, so I'm not gonna be able to offer much.
Well, join the crowd. I don't know much about it either. I wish we could just fix our lines and go on, but I mean, we can't keep going with them until they're broken.
No, it's all because your phone.
Could,
lines don't
Could,
part of the
do-
time.
Go ahead, John.
could we, since he's on tonight, could we perhaps impose upon Walter to stop in and talk with you, Terry, about this whole situation?
That would be great if you would do that.
Hey, Walter, you still there?
He's not responding.
Making dinner or something.
Spectrum was impossible to even get a hold of, and we're supposed to have our own business rep, and it took forever. That kind of worries me that
Yeah,
we get all this new system in that doesn't go like we hope it would, and you can't get a hold of anybody.
Well, I'm afraid there might be some hidden costs here too, like, oh, well, you didn't tell us about that, and. I think we need I think we need someone with some expertise to advise us.
I think that's a great idea.
and I think Walter doesn't have his hand up, but I'm sure he'd be willing to do that.
I will reach out to Walter.
Okay,
I think you may step away from the
yeah, I
computer.
think so too.
That's what happens when you get out of the way, then you get volunteered and stuff.
Thanks for volunteering, Walter. Okay, any other old business? So on new business, we are through
D,
E.
D, I think.
So,
Well, we haven't done E.
right. So debrief the joint meeting. I think it was worthwhile. I was surprised at the number of people that physically showed up at the school. But I don't think it stifled the discussion
No,
that much.
no, I don't think it did.
And I do hope that we can maybe get together again, in the fairly near future. There were some pretty good ideas kicked around. And I think we're about done with the minutes from that.
I sent him,
Yeah.
no, Gordon had one little change and I was something this afternoon.
Thank you for doing that, Terry, too.
Yeah,
So other than John not being able to hear anything, I thought it went extremely well. I was pretty pleased with it.
can you tell us what we talked about?
Well, I got the sense, I had heard mixed reviews about how happy Owl's Head was with their contract with the ambulance service, but I certainly got the sense from Gordon in particular that they seem to be very happy with it. And I thought I heard him say 109,000, which is pretty good price. I think,
Yeah.
if I heard that right, I'm not sure I did, but,
Yep.
Um,
Bob Hirsch was there and he verified that number.
yeah. My sense was that not quite so much with the fire department and I don't know, I guess I thought it might have been the other way around, but I guess I felt like I learned something there. I am intrigued by the idea of the, not the brush, maybe doing something together with Owl's Head on the brush. But the idea of the Owl's Head, the co-op taking over the roll-off bin, so the demo stuff. That intrigued me. I don't know if there's any interest on the co-op's part, but I've often wondered, why are we running, why wouldn't it fit over there, but I'm talking about, the building materials and mattresses and all that stuff, not the brush that we burn. So anyways, and I just felt that was something where maybe we could start, where it isn't really to be perfectly blunt, a political hot potato. Although maybe it is now. And I'm not in favor, I don't think, of trying to get and work with them on small purchases. I just don't see that as going to save us any money, and it's just going to, tie up the office staff kind of needlessly. And but from what I could hear, I definitely would like to meet again too. There's no question about it. But when I'm back.
I think they agreed that small office material was not a good starting point. But things like SCBA,
Yeah.
some of the equipment for the fire department and maybe even for EMS well, maybe not EMS because that's Rockland. But there are probably some opportunities there where the break point is lower and more significant on that kind of equipment.
Yeah, I agree on expensive, high-end, expensive equipment.
Out here. So I was also interested in the idea of a single town manager for both towns. That would be interesting. And,
Yeah. That involves a whole other discussion, though. We ready to propose that at some point, either independently or in concert with them. But
yeah, and I don't know that we're ready to do that this year, but maybe we could work on it for next year.
Yeah, I did watch the YouTube after. I really wished I could have heard it, but better live, but so anyways, I would request if we're gonna try to schedule another one that do you want me to reach out to Gordon and say we'd like to schedule one, but I'd like to do it after I'm back.
Yeah, that would be great. I think that's a
Okay.
good idea.
I'll do that. And they may say, I think they've responded positively, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I do think having the county commissioner, the chair of the county commission there turned out to be to our benefit as well. Especially since he is new in his job, he's trying to figure out where the county can fit in to help the towns with this kind of stuff without having to step on too many toes. Okay, quit claim deed for tax acquired properties.
Terry, were those in our packet?
I didn't get them from Kristen until Saturday morning. I sent them out to you.
Okay, I guess. Oh, I did see that. So I'm
Sure.
fine with it. If you updated it to Christian's, I'm not gonna be able to sign it anyways, but I'm fine with it if you updated it to Kristen's, with Christian changes, because my concern obviously is I didn't want to release the subsequent year's taxes. And I think what she did is fine. I think mine would have worked too, and would be $200 cheaper, but that's okay.
So you want to talk about LD 101?
Do you want a
Here.
motion to approve those?
Oh, did we not? We
No.
didn't do it. Okay, no, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yeah, I don't have the deeds right in front of me, so can someone make the motion that has the names and,
I don't have any. I don't have any.
Referring it.
Yes.
I think we should do them separately too.
So just do it, to execute the quick thing.
Yes. With Dominic and Margaret Cuccinello.
I make a motion that we execute the quick claim deed with Dominic and Margaret Cuccinello. Do you need any more than that?
John, you want to second that or you?
Yeah, I couldn't hear it very well, but I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Do we want to refer to a map and lot or something?
Yeah, I can.
Just so when Terry puts it in the minutes, there's some context to it.
I make a motion that we execute the quick claim deed for Dominic and Margaret Cuccinello, map 016, lot 009-001.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Sue's aye.
Aye, John.
Aye, Jeff.
I make a motion that we execute the quick claim deed for Francis Walsh, map 015, lot 029-003.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Sue?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jeff, aye.
So Terry, I have a question for Terry, the process, if I could. Are you planning on having the town get these recorded, or are you just planning on sending them to them and leaving it up to their, leaving it up to them?
I was going to have the town send them in, and take care of it. But I don't have to.
No, we don't have to, but I think we should.
They may never do it.
Well, that's what I'm worried about, and it's gonna get messy. And even though I feel it's kind of their responsibility, I do think we should do it, and I'm glad to hear that's your thought.
I agree. Okay, LD 101, I read that little article they put in the magazine.
I
What were
am,
your thoughts?
well, I printed it off and read it. I mean, it is, number one, it assumes, as I read it, that any lot you tax acquire, you're gonna sell. And that through history has not been the case. And I mean, for example, if the Cuccinellos truly didn't want that property, I think we might have kept it. So that's one thing. But the other thing is that really bothers me is I don't want to get in a situation where we put it out to bid and we sell it for X, and then the former owner comes in and says, oh, it was worth a lot more than that. And, you know, I'm going to sue you because you sold it cheaply and I should have a lot more. And it kind of puts us in the real estate business, I think. And I can see that being a real mess. So I would just, I would like to, I don't know if we want to do this, take a position on it as a board or just individually, but I individually, I plan on calling Penny and Ann and voicing my opinion on it, and maybe even Kate before up at MMA. But I think of what I'd really like is for the board to maybe entertain a motion or approve a motion to in opposition to it. I just see it. I see it being a mess, but that's just my personal feeling. I don't know how you guys feel.
I agree 100%. And there was one part of it that really had me concerned. And even if you don't sell it, it says you have to declare the excess value as the difference between what it costs us to execute it all and the fair market value if you don't sell it. So does that mean we have to then make money available that even though we haven't sold it?
I think you had 90 days.
Right.
Yeah.
If you haven't sold it within 90 days, then you have to make funds available up to the fair market value.
Right.
Where did
Yeah.
you come up with?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I haven't read it in a great amount of detail, and I think I want to read that MMA article too. But well, I would make a motion that we South Thomaston Select Board stand in opposition to LD 101.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? And that the chair contact our,
I would agree to that friendly amendment.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jeff, aye. Yeah,
Jeff,
I,
if you or Sue have anything, shoot me an email and I'll
I
bundle
will.
that in. Okay.
Okay, next one. Discuss and consider a request from the Owl's Head South Thomaston Solid Waste Corporation Board to execute a trucking contract in excess of 3 years. And just as background, the contract for the trucking has been put out as a request for proposal for about 8-9 months now, and got no responses to the first request, got one response to the second request that was not that didn't cover the requirements. So the third request, we finally got a valid proposal. And so what we want to do is do a 3-year contract, but that means it will expire in February of 2026, right? 2026. But they have gone to the same fiscal year as we have. So their fiscal year is July to June. So they want to extend it from February to the end of June to get back in cycle. So that's the only reason for it. There are other alternatives to them, but this is the cleanest and the easiest way to get them back on track. And as you would expect, we haven't consummated or executed the agreement yet, so the actual numbers are not out for public consumption, but it is as we expected, a significant increase over previous trucking contracts.
Is who the contractor is that public information yet?
The apparent low bidder, the one we are currently in negotiations with for a formal contract, is Gordon Libby. And his company is currently doing it, starting in January. They started doing it on an interim basis because the previous contractor decided that they did not want to continue after the 1st of January.
I think that makes sense, and it'll give the 3 towns solid budget numbers for their fiscal years as well. Well, maybe not Owl's Head's on a strange year, aren't they? But at least Thomaston and South Thomaston. So I'd make a motion to authorize that. The 3-year, or the extension over 3 years.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further questions or discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye, John.
Aye, Jeff. Okay, next one. Ooh, consider nominations to the county commission for 2 seats on the APAC. The 2 seats that we have a voice in, one is the District 1 seat, which includes Rockland, us, and Thomaston, I believe, and I think maybe Vinyl. And that one is vacant. The previous individual has resigned from that position. And I do have somebody who is interested in it, Katie Odowski Shaw. She is a pilot and has been on the APAC before, representing pilot positions. And now she'd like to represent the district. And then the other one is Jan Gaddio's seat, which is for the town of South Thomaston. And he has finished his first 3-year term. He's allowed to do 3. And so he has requested to continue in that. So I would like a motion to recommend to the APAC and to the county commission that they appoint Katie Odowski Shaw for the District 1 seat and reappoint Jan Gaudio to the South Thomaston seat.
I'm fine with that, and I'll make that motion, but who are we recommending to?
The actual appointing is the county commission.
Okay,
They'll do that in March, I think. Yeah, at their March meeting. And normally we go through the APAC, so they bundle all of the recommendations and nominations and send them up with their recommendations.
okay, so we're recommending to the APAC, not the county commissioners?
Well, we're recommending to the county commissioners through the APAC.
Okay, well, I'll make that a motion.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
John?
John, aye.
Jeff, aye.
Jeff, how do you spell her name? And so I get Katie and I get
Yeah.
John.
I think it's OLDA. WASKI.
think that's right.
All
I call her KBO.
right. I can see why.
And I think she's still carrying Shaw. I don't know if she dropped the Shaw or not, but I think she's still using Shaw. I'll send it to you. All right, let's see, going to. Penny. Voting status.
The February 6th meeting, they called for a vote to approve the minutes from the prior meeting. And they wanted to know why I wasn't voting, and I did not feel that I was a voting member of a subcommittee to the library facility committee. And, when this all came up, John had said, you know, well, he would like the select board to have input to the, recruitment packet, and wouldn't the library community center director also want that? And I said, yes, I would. And so we had that, we had input on it. They did, finalize that at the last meeting. They had an executive session with some, potential nominees brought forward. So the packet is now something they're going to use. They are going to go into small meetings in private homes with no more than 2 of them that will be speaking to some of the potential nominees. So I'm really uncomfortable with voting on a subcommittee to a committee that wasn't allowed to vote on and I resigned from. And I essentially feel that until I have a nominee, my position there was to put input into the recruitment packet. So I don't know whether I would have ongoing, until I have a nominee. I don't know. I just didn't feel voting was appropriate for me or for the select board representative. That's a subcommittee of the committee, and they self-appointed themselves to that subcommittee.
Right, but my position on it, my feeling on it is that subcommittees, the chair of the basic committee appoints subcommittees. We don't,
Right,
and they can appoint anybody they want to that subcommittee, and anybody they would appoint to would have voting rights on the subcommittee, even though they can't all vote on the primary committee.
but doesn't the subcommittee just take things back to the facilities committee?
Well, I would think so. But.
Can I
the
offer
you can vote
comment?
on it. Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, I'm not sure that this is even a subcommittee. I mean, Sue, my understanding, Sue, we appointed Sue. I thought it was just sort of a working group. And I don't know, I don't want to get into splitting hairs here on definitions, but it was getting together to work on some recommending nominations to the select board and to the facilities committee. So I couldn't hear all of what Penny said, but I did talk to her about it the other day briefly on the telephone. But I'm not even sure it's a subcommittee of that committee. I mean, Sue's not on that committee, and I guess, I don't know. I don't know if you have to be on a committee to be a member of a subcommittee. I just wonder if we're making this too complicated, and if Penny
Well-
doesn't want to vote, she doesn't vote.
But I don't want to show up as an abstaining or as a member of that.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
I really don't want to appear as a non-participating member of a committee. By
Yeah.
abstaining from voting. I'd rather the vote did not include me.
So they're showing you as abstaining if you don't vote.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, but-
I guess
But
that's
but
up.
again, yeah, that's up to that committee, subcommittee, or working group, or whatever it is, to figure out how they're going to make decisions that they're recommending. Not sure where we have a dog in that fight, to be frank. I mean, it's,
So if I don't show up to the meeting, is it going to show me as an absent member?
I don't know how, I don't know what rules they're using or what their processes are. And one of the
Yeah.
reasons I was hoping that they'd set it up is because I don't want to know. Whatever they want to use for their processes.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I thought it was just much more of an informal.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's turned into something formal
I mean, they run it like a formal meeting.
with minutes and an agenda.
And who's there, who's not there, and,
Yeah.
yeah, they, like a regular.
Well, yeah, and we're treading a fine line here. We want to make sure we don't violate any state laws, and if someone determines this is a committee, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I guess I would just wish they would respect your request that you're not participating in the vote and not mark you as
I
abstaining.
watched the last, facility committee meeting. And their determination was the bylaws said that they could determine who could vote at the subcommittee level.
And that would be
That's for
my feeling on it as well.
But
the
isn't the-
bylaws, the Bible launch,
The bylaws don't create this nominating group, though. The bylaws deal with the,
I don't have any part of it. Except that I was glad to have it input on the packet. I now have the packet in my hand. I think they have one for Sue. They had their executive session. I did not have a candidate to put forward at this time.
and my understanding was you weren't going to. That's what you told me before.
That there is one to be recommended by the library community center director.
Well, I think you just let them know your feelings on it. And I'm-
I did.
I mean, I think they
And
know
this
her
is what they
feelings on
told
it, but they're pretty forceful.
Is this the meeting you had to miss, Sue, because you had conflicts?
Yes, I had to work,
Yeah, yeah.
but in my email that I told her that I had to work, she was pretty forceful with me on with questions, and I didn't appreciate it. So I understand where Penny's coming from.
Well, maybe we should ask Sandy to come in and, is Sandy is kind of organizing this group, or I don't even want to use the word chairing. But is
I
that,
would say she is the chair.
okay, maybe we should ask her to come into our next meeting and chat with her. And I think we can chat with her in executive session too. It's personnel matters, so. I guess I just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I still don't think the select board has a dog in this fight at all. It's not a committee that we set up. It's not a committee that we appointed. It is a committee that they put together, or a working group, or whatever you want to call it, and they can use whatever rules or laws or efforts that they want to run their meetings.
Is it a
Well, we
committee
did appoint one member. Or
Is it-
participant or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is it a committee that, non-committee members can go to the meetings?
It has to be public. meeting.
Yeah. So.
But until they go into
So can Penny
executive
go as like an observer?
Yeah, but if they go into executive session, then I would say anybody who's not,
Would have to leave the room.
anybody who's not voting wouldn't be a member of wouldn't be able to go into executive session. And if they're talking about making proposals for people to work on this, recommendations, I think they should do that in executive session. So. But again, I don't know what is, not only what is our role, what would we do? I mean, we're not gonna mandate one way or the other. I just don't know what our role is. I just don't see, I don't see the sense of bringing somebody in and talking to them about.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I was just trying to,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a land use thing. It's a civil matter. It's not a town matter.
Well, I disagree. The select board appointed me to that facilities committee as a non-voting member.
Correct.
And I resigned. And so I see this as a subcommittee to that committee. And I don't feel like I even have a right to vote, nor do I want to vote.
well, see, that's where I differ. I don't see it as a subcommittee because Sue's on it. And I think,
But a subcommittee does not have to be exclusive to the original committee. Subcommittees can be made up of
yeah,
anybody. Anybody
Yeah.
that normally the chair of the committee can appoint the chair of the subcommittee and appoint the members of the subcommittee. And it could be anybody. So the rules for the committee are not necessarily the same rules for the subcommittee. And
right. I guess you're right.
Can I be appointed against my will?
Well, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. You wanted to be a participant in it.
This all came about because they were preparing the packet and Don thought the select board ought to have some input on that packet and
Correct.
turned to me, sitting right here and said, do you want input? And I said, yes,
Okay,
that's done.
so you've had your input, now you can resign, right?
The packet's done.
Packet's done, but the next step is gonna be actually using the packet to come up with names.
They had names already before the packet.
The packet is to give to prospective board members so that they can look at it and decide whether they want to be on the board. That's what the packet's for.
This is a first rule of the cavalry, riding a dead horse, dismount. So we had one other thing, John, you wanted to go into executive session?
Yes, if you could, I don't have the land acquisition number in front of me. This will be brief. Do you have that? You have the little cheat sheet there?
So it's chapter 3.1405C to discuss use of real or personal.
So moved. I move we enter into executive session under that clause.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Sue?
No.
All those. John?
Aye, John.
Jeff, aye.